All right, we got a lot of news to get into today, so I'm just going to start off by getting into what Pierre Poilievre has been getting into the past few days here and over the weekend. I have written the Governor General confirming that the Prime Minister has lost the confidence of the House and that Parliament must be recalled to hold a vote before the end of the year on triggering an axe to tax election. I am asking the NDP leader to match his actions to his words and likewise send a letter to Her Excellency asking for the same. This is coming out the week that most of Parliament unanimously voted on going home early. A emergency non-confidence vote is something that should have been in discussion before that, but it's honestly too late for that. And if you really think every MP is going to come back to Parliament during their holiday break, then I don't know what to tell you. It's not going to happen. Could this happen early next year, whether it's late January, early February? There's a possibility there, but it's a matter of if Jagmeet actually is going to pull through. And we know that time and time again, he's done the exact opposite, throwing the entire country under the bus to earn his pension. It's simple as that, cut and dry. He's backed Trudeau for years and years now, and I really don't understand why anybody would think or expect otherwise out of him. One day he's just going to all of a sudden turn coat and vote against Trudeau. I don't think so. I don't believe it for a second. The only reason the NDP has any foothold in Parliament right now is because of the Liberal Trudeau government. The only reason the NDP has made it as far as they have is because of the Liberal Trudeau government. And I strongly believe that the NDP is most likely going to continue to back Trudeau even long after Jagmeet gets his pension. We got a kind of funny article coming out here from the CTV News. Trudeau's 2024, did the PM become less popular this year? What kind of fucking out of touch title is that? This man has become less and less popular each and every year he is in power. And it's just that simple. If you can't see that as a normal day-to-day person, or the mainstream media who's supposed to be on top of this stuff covering it every single day, if you can't see that, then you're clearly out of touch. And this just honestly further proves that mainstream media needs to be shut down. Get rid of it. Also coming out on the 20th of December, we have Trudeau himself speaking with reporters after the massive cabinet shuffle that had happened. He gets confronted by reporters here, and I'm kind of curious to hear what he has to say, what bullshit he is going to run to try and save his neck this time, trying to say that the Liberal Party is still strong and united, even though over 15 plus MPs have called for his resignation. Chrystia Freeland literally resigned from the finance minister role. LeBlanc has stepped in for her. The entire Liberal cabinet falling apart and sinking in real time.
Prime Minister, are you going to step down? Are you considering proroguing?
We just had an excellent cabinet meeting that is almost entirely focused on the Canada-U.S. dynamic. We know how important it is for Canadians that we be there to protect not just the Canadian economy, but their jobs, the cost of living challenges they're facing that could get worse. We have a lot of work to do, and that's what we're focused on.
Mr. Miller, why are you telling the Prime Minister that he should stay on?
Well, my conversations with the Prime Minister will obviously remain confidential. I think the important thing to remember that if you're a minister sitting around the cabinet table, confidence in the Prime Minister is not optional, and I'll leave it at that.
Confidence in the Prime Minister is not optional, even though every single individual that is not bought and paid for by the Liberal government is saying otherwise. You could stand there, Skeletor, on that sinking ship trying to defend him all you want and please, but it's not doing you any favors. One of Trudeau's biggest MPs, one of the biggest names in his cabinet, has jumped ship because she saw the writing on the wall, and she saw it for months. Now, is Freeland equally to blame for a good portion of all of this? Yes, absolutely. But when she comes out afterwards blaming Trudeau for basically everything across the board, from his policies to his actions to his leadership, his dictatorship over the Liberal government, more or less, that's why you get claims like this. Well, of course, we have to stand united with him. He is the Prime Minister. That's a very robot NPC answer. No, I was told not to think for myself and give you guys my own answer. I was told to give one based on the party and what is in the best interest for the Prime Minister.
Why do you think he's the right leader to lead the Liberal Party in the next election?
Well, we have, in the next 60 days, an existential threat for the Canadian economy, for people that could lose their jobs. The unemployment rate could double. We need to focus on that, and I think he's the best to lead us in a very difficult situation. We can't be in a situation where the government has no ability to fight back, and that's what needs to happen.
And now we have.
And there you go. After 10 years, they're still completely out of touch. They don't even know what they're talking about. The reason we are looked at the way we are from the United States is because of the leadership at hand right now. Going back to a spineless man here, this reporter here from CTV or Morning, this news anchor, ends up calling Jagmeet out on the things he had to say about not supporting Trudeau anymore. And my favorite part is Jagmeet continues to say that all options are on the table. It's his only response to anything here. After everything he has said and done up to this point, the only response he has is that.
You're Jagmeet Singh. Welcome. Good to have you here.
Good to be here.
Listen, you say the Prime Minister has to resign. You said, in fact, that he has to go. He's already said he's not going to do that. And he's shown that very clearly over this last few weeks, or the last few days. So how do you explain to Canadians that while you say you want him out, that he's not good for Canada, but you won't act on that and commit to a vote of non-confidence?
Well, everything's on the table, we've said. But it's been clear, given that we've got the threats of tariffs from Trump, that puts a lot of workers in Canada saying, will I lose my job? We know that people are having a really hard time buying groceries, just the basic essentials.
Sure.
And we got people that are saying, I can't find a home, my bills are up. Given all of that, we've got a Prime Minister that's more focused on fighting his own party than fighting for Canadians. It's clear that he's got to go.
Right. But you're the one who can make that happen. So why not commit to a vote that would see an election in this country?
Well, I've said that everything's on the table. So all options are on the table. What I'm focused on right now is saying he's got to go. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks.
You know, you're talking about Canadians being concerned about affordability, but the most recent polls show that most of them want an election. So if you have the power to make that happen for Canadians, and you're acting in the best interest of Canadians, isn't that what they actually want?
Well, there's going to be an election this year, 2025
Sure,
or next
but
year.
October is the scheduled date. That's a long way off.
It could happen any time in 2025. We're in a minority government, so we'll keep all options open. But let's be clear, there's going to be an election in 2025.
And when that election happens, your party is going to get absolutely demolished as nobody votes for you based on the things you have said and the actions you have taken during your entire leadership in the NDP. Nobody takes anything you have to say seriously anymore. They take it with a grain of salt because time and time again, you've thrown the entire country under the bus for your own benefit. That third non-confidence vote would have been very nice, would have helped out a lot of people, but you decided not to. Now you stand there or sit there saying, all options are on the table. Well, all options are on the table because you received your $2.2 million, didn't you? That's realistically what it came down to at the end of the day. You'd have a nice, cushiony $2.2 million to sit on for however long you're going to be around for, while the rest of Canada lines up at food banks, can barely afford to buy groceries. Most people, young people, can't even dream of affording or owning a house. And here we have Jagmeet saying, all options are on the table, by the way. We'll see what happens when the next election comes around. I guarantee the NDP will be a former shell of the former shell it already is. And the last piece of news, international news I want to get into here, what we know about the suspect in the Christmas market attack in Germany, this absolutely disgusting, vile act of violence taken place in Germany over the weekend at a Christmas market, a Christmas festival, a time where people are supposed to be celebrating each other's company, the holidays, whether you're taking time off work, spend time with your family, or maybe you're going on vacation. Maybe you vacationed to Germany. You have family out there, or maybe you just go there because you like it. And you have individuals like this, as Germany mourns the death of at least 5 people after a vehicle intentionally plowed into a crowded Christmas market. Authorities are working to understand the suspect behind the attack. The suspect, identified by local media as 50-year-old Talib A, has been living and working as a psychiatry and psychotherapy specialist in Germany for 2 decades. Originally from Saudi Arabia, Talib arrived in 2006 and was recognized as a refugee in 2016. He worked at a specialist clinic in Bernburg, about 25 miles south from Magdeburg, I don't know. But regardless of the fact, this is what happened over the weekend, and more news is coming out here. And I think the worst part about all of it is The man published a huge number of posts on the internet, more or less saying that he wanted to commit such threats. He also had contact with various authorities, made insults and threats. However, he was not known to have committed acts of violence. Apparently, the warnings or threats or whatever were very unspecific, and the police were notified about this man. Previous to this, they had numerous tips. The Federal Office for Migration and Refugees also said on X that it received a tip-off about the suspect in the late summer of last year. This was taken seriously, like every other of the numerous tips, the office said, but it also noted that it is not an investigative authority and that it referred the information to the responsible authorities. It gave no further details or no other details. The simple fact of the matter is they were warned about this man last year in the summer, a year and a half ago, and they did absolutely nothing. They took no steps to stop this man. I hope this is a major wake-up call for countries everywhere when it comes to not just receiving threats or tips of threats on individuals, but when it comes to knowing about the people that are coming in and out of your country. This man sought refugee status or was a refugee after coming into Germany 2006 to 2016, was able to get multiple high position specialist jobs and commits an act like that, just snaps one day after receiving tips that this is a possibility, a possible threat. Absolutely, like I said before, a vile, disgusting act. This man doesn't deserve prison. He deserves numerous penalties that involve him no longer being around us. But that is just my personal opinion. Got a clip from the Senate that we covered last Friday that I'm going to be showing now. So thank you all for watching. Have a great holidays and Merry Christmas to you all.
With a $62 billion deficit, much as Senator Cardozo wanted to make this look positive. Made it look like a win. Our country cannot afford your incompetent government, including this GST tax trick. In her resignation letter, the former Minister of Finance referred to costly political gimmicks which we can ill afford. That's your finance minister. You criticized Conservative senators for calling it a trick, but she agreed with us. After 9 long years, our country is in dire need of a strong, stable leadership, and we're not getting it from the all-options Jagmeet Singh or the NDP Liberal government, which must finally come to an end. Leader, are you ashamed of having supported this total economic disaster when even the Minister of Finance herself could not?
Senator Gold.
Well, thank you for your interest in my personal moral sentiment, and I'm happy to stand here representing the government and representing the policies of this government. The fact is, Senator, and I'm not going to speak personally about you or your colleagues, though you seem to have spoken quite personally about the independent senators and the independent Senate. The fact remains that, no, I am not ashamed. If you take the time to look at the fall economic statement, you will see that despite the increase in spending, which is undeniable, there are important investments that are being made there to further protect our borders and our security and help Canadians. And I'd be happy to elaborate further if you are interested in the policy issues.
Senator Plett.
Clearly, even the finance minister was ashamed of it. She wouldn't deliver it. That's right. Leader, I did the responsible thing and offered you to pass supply last Friday. You turned me down because of the optics. Now everyone sees where government by optics has led us. Yep. The NDP Liberal government is in total shambles, and their gimmicks have put Canada in a terrible position. When will we have a carbon tax election?
Senator Gold.
On this last day, I believe before we rise, you have chosen to disclose private conversations. Let me be clear about what my position was to this chamber, to the leaders, and to you, sir. It was that it would be irresponsible for the Senate to rise before the House rises because the House may be very well be providing us with work that we would have a constitutional obligation to do. So please Senator, with all due respect, do not misrepresent either my words or my...
Oh,
Senator-
Gold got mad there. Holy, he did not like that in the slightest. Quite rare that we see people actually get heated to a level like that in the Senate.
Husakos.
Senator Gold, as Canadians grapple with the prospect of a tariff war with the United States, Justin Trudeau is focusing on gimmicks and trying to hold on to power. And all the while, our country is facing a historic cost of living crisis. From housing affordability and food insecurity to rising housing debt, inflation, and daily expenses. These challenges are being further exacerbated by Justin Trudeau's carbon tax. Prime Minister, of course, he claims that the carbon tax is essential to safeguarding the future of our children and grandchildren. He even goes on to say it's essential in order to prevent Canada from burning down to the ground because of global warming. But the truth is, Justin Trudeau is burning down this country to its foundation all on his own, government leader. With deficits like the unprecedented $62 billion unveiled yesterday, which is over 50% of what the government projected, we are finding ourselves going over the debt fiscal guardrails. Senator Gold, my question is very simple. Do you still have confidence that this government can steer a bright future for
Senator Gold.
A good question.
There were many comments and one question. To answer as much of that as I can. First of all, once again, Senator, with all due respect, you are offside what reputable independent economists have said, not only about the carbon tax as a policy, but its actual impact on prices, but that is consistent with the narrative that you've spread. The fact remains that notwithstanding the increased spending that increased the deficit, it is the case that as independent economists have also said, indeed even recently before our committees, that Canada's economy is a sustainable one, and the investments that are being made in the fall economics towards our border security, towards affordability issues that Canadians desperately need are in the best interest of Canadians.
Senator Husakos.
reputable economists, reputable in the Trudeau government right now? Those two words don't go together. Why don't you listen to the voters in BC who made it clear last night that...
Dude, there's some fighting words in this last day of the Senate. I can't lie. Not happy with each other here. That's for damn sure, especially after that economic statement dropped.
They have no confidence in this government. Former ministers like Catherine McKenna have made it clear they've lost confidence, as have several caucus members. And Trudeau's own deputy prime minister, his most trusted sidekick for years, has made it clear she has lost confidence in the leadership of this government. One simple question, Senator Gold. Do you have confidence in this inept and disastrous government?